Hello, this is John Miller, the creator of The Rest of Everest. I think I can safely say that this show is, without a doubt, the most in-depth look into the entire experience of what it takes to climb Everest, as well as some other peaks throughout the Himalayas. But all of the events in this series are shown in chronological order, so if you're new to the show, please go all the way back to episode 000 and watch everything in order. That's truly the best way to enjoy it. Thanks. We still have space on the 2011 photography workshop. If you're interested in joining us, now is definitely the time to grab your spot. This year we will not be visiting Everest, but instead we'll be trekking to a mountain in western Tibet called Mount Kailash. Kailash is a very spiritual and holy mountain, and is the favorite trek of most of my Sherpa friends. All of the information for the 2011 workshop can be found on a new website I've set up called HimalayanWorkshops.com. I'm very excited to say that the Kailash trek will be our most affordable trip to date, and will also be a relatively short trip at just over 2 weeks. I know that many people have wanted to join us in the past, but just haven't been able to afford the 3 to 4 weeks that those other trips have lasted. So far, we already have a few repeat customers from our first and second workshop treks, and that just goes to show how important and meaningful these trips are to everyone who participates. They're so much more than an outdoor photography classroom. They're the adventure of a lifetime. Again, please visit HimalayanWorkshops.com for all of the details, and we hope to see you at Kailash in 2011.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience. Episode 151, A Long Way to Travel to See a Friend.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Rest of Everest. I'm John Miller. This is an episode I know a bunch of you out there in the audience have been waiting for, because this is the episode where we fly into Tibet. I've always said it, since we've been into Tibet several times in this show, that everything changes once you hit Tibet. And you can say that on many different levels, and you'll see some of those right away, and they're pretty dramatic. But on the line with me are all the people who were there, and so I'm going to go down the list real quick. Today we've got Damien from Maryland, we've got Jeffrey from Canada, we've got Shaquille from Washington, D.C., we've got Monica from Germany, Jill from Nevada, David from Houston, Christine from Pennsylvania, and Tilo, as always, calling in from Germany. How are you guys doing today?
Great, John.
Very great.
Doing good.
Hello.
So, as I was going through the footage, now when I edit these episodes, I don't look at any of the footage ahead of time. I like spontaneously putting the shots in, because it's as much fun for me to edit these as it is probably for those of you participating in the commentary to watch them. And sometimes I don't always get everything in. So there was some great footage from Bhaktapur that I just felt had to go into the show before we left on the plane ride to Lhasa. So we're gonna head right now back to Bhaktapur, and let's start the show off with a little bit of insanity going on in the narrow streets of Bhaktapur. So here we go. This looks like...
So, just wait until it's finished, until it's 1 minute.
I'm wondering if I'm supposed to have this in here or if I'm editing it out.
This looks like the ground.
This right here.
It's just the beginning of the tape. There's nothing to see here. Move along.
Okay, that's right. You always gotta roll the camera when you're using tape for a couple, I usually do 30 seconds because that's when the most dropouts can happen. Usually I use color bars, but Pemba there decided to use the ground. But this footage looks like it's either Shaquille or Kevin.
And last time we talked about that there are no girls. Here we see there are girls.
Yep. And there's Shaquille talking to some girls.
Oh, I took a great picture here. I'll have to send it to you.
I think what's interesting is when I watched this, the woman came up and asked the tourist, Shaquille, a question. I guess it was obvious you were speaking the language, Shaquille, so they came up and asked you. What did she ask you? Do you remember?
Probably. What are you guys doing? You can see how narrow the streets are. There's not a lot of room.
Momos.
So, do you guys know what all of these women were standing around for? Were they all here to watch the processions go by, or was something else going on?
I think they were there to watch.
Yeah, there was just a big crowd there just watching everybody go by.
I think it was some givings also, because you can see all the girls is having something in their hand.
In some places you had a gathering of people, and it was hard to see because of the crowd, but in the middle you would have someone reading prayers or writing something down or doing some activities.
Okay, this is footage shot by Shaquille. Shaquille, do you know if this is in Bhaktapur or is this back in Kathmandu? I'm thinking this is Bhaktapur.
No, this is actually Kathmandu, I believe. I was going through the narrow alleys, and just to give everybody the idea of how crowded it is and what it looks like and what the shops look like, I took this footage.
You know, I'm not actually sure where you are because a lot of the streets are about 1.5 times as wide as this. and here I see no cars or bikes whatsoever, so that must definitely have been an alleyway.
I think I was lost, and this was my breadcrumb to get back.
There you go. Okay, so see, I thought that had been Bhaktapur, but this is Bhaktapur. I don't think I'd take the time in Kathmandu to get lost anymore. Because it's very easy to get lost.
Yeah.
It's just that I have places I have to go and I know exactly how to get there. Don't have time for anything else, like...
So
this is Thamel. I think I took this as well. I just saw these kids playing, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Kids are kids are kids.
Jeez.
You know, I'm wondering if this country, if their mothers would be like, don't do that, or their fathers would be like, let's let them do whatever, or if they're both that way, just let them have fun. Because I know that's the way it is in my family.
Yeah.
I've been kicked out of construction sites far too many times.
So, yeah, Shaquille took this too. This is, he's in a rickshaw. I didn't know you had taken a rickshaw ride.
Well, I told you I was lost, so I paid this guy to get me. It's a true story, I'm not even joking. Do you know how to get to this address? He was like, yeah.
Yeah, you need to be a rickshaw guy or a bus driver in Thamel to know where to go. The rest is just instinct, kind of.
Or you can...
Oh, go ahead, Damien.
Or you can be Tilo and have a GPS unit and just track where you go.
Yeah, but that's when you're a geek.
Oh, I'd say it came in really handy. It was nice having that.
I just walk around until I find where I'm going. I can usually find it within an hour.
So this is everyone making fun of my passport, or my visa photos.
Video or are you shooting video? Okay, here's the real deal. Yeah. And now here's
Here, hold on a second. I need the. Yeah. I need.
No, you need to open your eyes a bit wider. No, a bit straighter. Straighter. Yeah, like this, and then you look like a deer in the headlights, please. Yeah, that's it. And now we look at the actual picture here.
That's a keeper.
Yeah, you do look like a convict there.
I was tired.
Hold on a second, let me do that again.
Wait, I have to switch back and forth between like the different modes.
Just tell me when.
Oh yeah, now I can do it. And back and back. Little video camera.
So and this was also, I think we were filling out our visa forms. Or filling out
What's
some
your name?
of them.
Where are you from?
For Tibet.
I'm Shaquille, I'm from Washington, D.C.
What are we about to do?
We're about to go to Lhasa, Tibet, and go on probably the most exciting journey I've ever done in my life.
Where are we?
We are in Kathmandu, at the airport. I can't pronounce it. Tribhuvan.
What's the airport like?
The airport is pretty basic, but it gets you through.
How was the security procedures for you?
Security procedures, I've been through similar type of procedures in India and Pakistan, so I'm kind of used to it, so it wasn't very new to me, but it's fairly thorough, but the equipment is pretty manual. Saying it diplomatically.
Can you tell us the story again about the guys and the girls being treated differently?
Well, before we were waiting for the women to come out, and they actually had a shorter line, and we were wondering why they were taking so long. So I surmised that the security guards are talking to the women about what they have in their bag and talking about cosmetics and what they wear and where they're from and stuff like that. And as soon as Monica came out, she talked about the fact that she was knitting something and the lady was very interested in it, called over someone else to show them the knit and basically let her go through without very much checking at all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Monica, tell me the story about the security procedure and the knitting.
This is really what's
surreal. Yeah, I was quite scared to unpack. I was quite scared to unpack the whole backpack because there are lenses in there, all separately wrapped and thing, and there's actually money in there and a book and everything. But first I showed them my knitting because they checked Christine's knitting because of the needles. So I showed them my knitting and said I have needles with me, and they said, "Oh, needles are not allowed." I said, "Yes, they are wooden," and I showed it, and they said, "Oh, what's that?" "Oh, that's a scarf." And she told her colleague, come over here, look at this, look at this." She checked out the scarf and she said, "Oh, that's pretty. It's okay, ma'am." Stamped my boarding pass and I could go. She wasn't really interested in anything other in my backpack, so
nothing in
it was just about the scarf.
So Shaquille was right.
Yeah. It was the perfect distraction.
The knitting decoy.
Scarf. She called the other ladies over too.
Yeah.
She pulled it out. She's like, "Oh, look!" and showed it to everybody else.
Too?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
So what would happen if we had knitting in our bags?
I think if we had knitting in our bags, we would probably really thoroughly search.
Yeah, exactly. We'd have some additional checking.
There you go. No. This was that. I was knitting a cozy for my remote release. Camera cozies. Yeah, we have two knitters.
They just checked out my socks.
Just the socks?
Just the socks.
Not the tech?
Well, oh yeah, they confiscated a little pair of scissors from me, but I hated the scissors anyway.
Yeah, still haven't replaced those scissors yet.
There's always something interesting when you go through security here. I was thinking just last year, telling Chris that last time I went through security here, I bled all over the guard because my lip was so just damaged from the dryness. And as soon as I got through security, I was totally fine. As soon as I got to security, just drip, drip, and I just started gushing all over the guard. So it's one thing or another.
Good way to get you through.
And they were totally fine. Well, I ended up having a conversation with the guy for like 5 minutes while I'm bleeding, just bleeding. I think with the trucking traffic that comes through here, they see that a lot. I think they're too terribly shocked by it.
Sorry,
Grant's got you. Grant's got you.
John, you're going to be getting a letter from the TSA.
So Roger and I were saying it was nice to see Erin with her mask off.
Yeah, we finally saw her in space there. So these are the Himalayas as we're flying to Lhasa, as shot by Shaquille.
You know, I fly a lot. When we were passing by, Everest and the Himalayas, it was just unbelievable to see that sight. It was just awesome.
I really couldn't see it because I had Jill laying across my lap on the flight.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I was upset because I had actually put my camera away, so I didn't even have any pictures of it. I was very mad at myself.
Tilo shot this. Gives you a little bit more perspective. You are here. And Lhasa is there. It's funny because you actually do fly. It's not just, you're not flying straight north. You do fly quite a bit east. And then Chris almost got me and Lobsang embracing for the first time in several years. And when I was so looking forward to seeing Lobsang, I ran up to him because, we had become such good friends in 2007, and with all of you in the audience who had given him money and let me pass that through to his family, it was just really, really important for me to see him again and to say hello in person, and it was a really happy moment for me, and so glad that we were going to be spending a lot of time with him.
Well, I mugged him when I finally got through that turnstile. You had to reassure him. No, she knows you. She knows you.
And that guy helping with the duffel bags ended up being another really good friend of ours. His name is Chimi, and Chimi ended up being there's Chimi. He ended up being our second guide. He was the only guide who knew this trek into the Kangchung face because it's so rarely done.
Jimmy the ghost. Because if you don't look at him for, I think, one moment, he's gone.
Yep.
He's so fast. It's unbelievable.
Oh, he is.
So this is the Tibetan landscape, and you'll notice there is a lot of trees because we're right next to a river right here. But there is the landscape that we see most of the time when you're driving in Tibet. And it really is a stark contrast from the other side of the Himalayas, where it's tropical and humid. And so we were driving, we finally got to Lhasa, and we came into the Bhaktapur Square here, and that's the Jokhang temple. We're just about to leave the frame on the left side. This is Shaquille does an actual 360-degree pan of this entire square. But I was really interested to see how things were going to be in Tibet, because in 2008 a lot happened here and they closed the border down, and I was interested to see what changes might be in effect, and we'll see some of those I believe in the next episode.
I enjoy all the footage that I have for the next couple of days after that. There's not much for me.
Yeah.
Like everybody was too tired to do any footage.
Yeah, because remember, Lhasa, Lhasa's at 12,000 feet, and Kathmandu is at about 3,000 feet. And in an hour-and-a-half long flight, you make that difference, and then you're at a minimum altitude of 12,000 feet. And so it can really wear you out. It can cause all kinds of problems, like you'll see in the next week episode. But,
tell me about it.
I don't think I have to, Damien. Yeah, and also Jeffrey talks about it a little bit, about how it does kind of drain you pretty quickly. And then you can see Roger in the red hat there actually walking into the Jokhang. Now there's not a whole lot of footage inside the Jokhang because, of course, you can't film inside of these holy places, but there was all of this amazing stuff going on in the roof.
Stays for long, so it becomes far better than a cement that we have nowadays. Cement.
Lobsang's explaining the process here.
Special material that we use here, and we have to stamp it all day. And while stamping it, they used to dance. It's kind of like a traditional way of building the roofs and floors. So, like sometimes you can find like two different groups together, like male group and female group. They used to compete while stamping it. They dance.
How about photography inside?
Now, once we enter the chapel, pictures are not allowed to take.
Okay, just outside here.
Yeah.
Just take your memories. But we got a lot of footage of these women working on this roof. And you have to remember, this whole complex here is extremely old, and this is the way it's been done the whole time. So they're using traditional methods here.
This was such a highlight for me. I loved watching them do this.
Did anybody ask the question, like, who are these women? Like, where did they come from?
They're construction workers. They're building the roof.
Well, that's what I wondered. I wondered if this is...
I think they're pilgrims. I think they're some pilgrims who are volunteering to do it, if I'm remembering correctly.
And that makes sense, because we Roger and I wondered why they weren't in some kind of garb as nuns, so they're not nuns, so pilgrims make sense.
Well, keep in mind that this is the holiest temple in Tibetan Buddhism. I mean, this is the place. This is far more important in a religious manner than the Potala Palace, which we'll see in a few episodes. This Jokhang temple is the center of, is the umphalos, is the navel of Tibetan Buddhism. And in past episodes, I think I've shown pilgrims who have actually been crawling on their knees and we're doing chorus around the Jokhang on their knee, praying. And they had actually been doing that for hundreds of miles from their village just to get to this place. I mean, it's I don't know if I have any kind of devotion like that in my life. I mean, maybe to my children and my wife, but I just don't know if I have that in me. That really is always something that has impressed me about these people. And you'll see that these guys are in competition with these guys when it comes to the singing. So it became very loud as these two groups were trying to outdo each other.
Now, did anybody volunteer from our group?
I don't think so.
I don't remember anybody doing it.
And I asked that question.
My mind.
I asked that question because I sort of thought I wanted to, but I didn't realize, and I looked at this footage. If you notice, there's a shot where there's a tourist actually doing it.
I have no idea what these women were doing here. Were they prepping the roof for
seemed like they were sealing it.
Or sealing it, I know. Because I know Kevin
it was
shot
the
that, and
finish.
he's the only one that shot that, and I wasn't sure what that was.
I know the final coat that goes down is a mixture of water and dung. And that's what kind of makes the roof look brown and shiny.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's exactly what they were doing.
Except for the parts that are gold. But this really is an amazing complex. There is so much to be seen inside, but you just can't photograph inside. And there are all of these chapels, there's all of these different Buddhas, there's a lot of history inside this building. But as you'll come to find, it's extremely difficult to film inside these places. However, on this trip, I did arrange to be able to film in certain places. So there are some things you'll be able to see this season that you were not able to see a few seasons ago. So I'm looking forward to showing all of you that. But we are now in Lhasa, so we've got some more Lhasa stuff to do next week. And I want to thank you guys for joining me this week. And I hope all of you can join me next week. So thanks a lot, guys.
We'll be here.
No problem.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Bye, John.
Thank you.
The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every day, and watching the show has become a part of many people's weekly routine. The show will always be free to download, but it's by no means free to produce. Please help me cover my costs by making a small monthly or one-time donation from the right sidebar on my website, and in return I'll give you some cool bonus materials. A donation of any amount will grant you access to some interesting video content, including high-definition versions of several podcast episodes. A one-time donation of $25 or more, or any of the monthly donation options, will additionally grant you access to a downloadable version of the film Everest: The Other Side, which episodes 1 to 61 are based on. I really cannot express how vital these donations are, and if you've made a donation, thank you so much. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywu.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.